We're doing this timeout, big timeout. We're doing this because we acknowledge there's a ton of fatigue and there's a lot of cases being made for other teams to be the number one team in the country rather than Ohio State. I think it becomes dangerous because you start looking only at a stat sheet rather than turning the film on and watching how they play against teams and how they dominate. I do not believe the defending national champions need style points. I believe they need to suffocate teams and win because they will always get every single team's best shot. With that being said, we're going to hit the restart button. Tyler McCormick is going to give his first Tyler McCormick I-71 top 15 teams on the pod, kind of how the national media approaches Ohio State this week in terms of do they get fired on their day off, even though I don't believe they should be. I think Ohio State, honestly, is a little bit too perfect, and it's like people want perfect teams to fail. We saw that with Alabama for a bunch of years, where they get put under a microscope that no one else gets put under in terms of like being picked apart. They get picked apart way more than Indiana and then A&M, and because of that, you're going to see a lot of national media put those two teams ahead of them this week.
If you're an Ohio State fan, all you need to say is Indiana will have their chance to prove it to us.
Before we get into our Week 9 post-game reaction show, make sure you like and subscribe. We do have content daily, and we appreciate all your guys' support. I'm Chris, that's Tyler. We just wrapped up Week 9, and I'm going to read you off the Heisman Trophy opening odds before the year. Number 1 at plus 700, Arch Manning. Number 2 at plus 900, Garrett Nussmeier. Number 3, Cade Klubnik, plus 900.
Ass.
Well, the next quarterback up, Drew Aller, plus 1,600. Dog, do you want to guess who the top 3 for the Heisman are today?
Ty Simpson, Diego Pavia, Fernando Mendoza.
So the top 3 in order is Fernando Mendoza is the favorite per most books. Then you've got Ty Simpson 2. Then you have Julian Saint 3. I do think Heisman marketing matters. You do have like this like weird Diego Pavia push. He is in the top 5. And then Gunnar Stockton is right there. This is going to, I think, maybe bug you a little bit. But Pavia and Gunnar Stockton have better odds than C.J. Carr, Jeremiah Love, Haynes King, and Jeremiah Smith. That's why Heisman campaigning matters. Vandy launched a 2-turn, and dog, in all of Vandy's biggest wins, all of Diego Pavia's Heisman moments, do you want to guess how many times he threw for over 200 yards?
None.
Zero. So I'm once again asking Jerry Emig to please do his job. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Vandy is now a top 10 team, obviously, and they beat number 15 Missouri. Diego Pavia threw for a whopping 129 with 1 interception, no touchdowns. He did rush for 20 yards as well, but it's funny because he got asked after the game, do you think you deserve the Heisman? His response, hell yeah.
Shocking.
Diego Pavia is now is still under 1,700 yards in the year, 15 touchdowns, 5 picks. But again, he's got a better shot at the Heisman per the odds than Haynes King, who I also want to spend a couple minutes talking about. Georgia Tech dominates Syracuse, dog. And Haynes King threw for over 300 yards and then rushed for another 90. Should his name get brought up in any Heisman conversation? I don't think he'll win it, but I think he has been this year's MIP, most important player to their team.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, do you view the Heisman as a who's the best player on the best team, or is it the most important player, or is it just like who has the best numbers and who has had the moment?
Honestly, I'm a big believer that it should be the best player. I do make exceptions, though, for the guys that are superhumans on bad teams historically. I think that kind of matters to some degree. My thing is, if Diego Pavia gets a Heisman invitation or finishes ahead in the Heisman above Haynes King, I'll be really frustrated because what is Haynes King is more important to his team, and his team is better because of it, and he's just a better player in general.
Well, is it really ever the best player?
Sometimes it is. I think last year.
So I'll go through the last 5 years. You tell me yes or no, and they're the best player in the country. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I agree. Jaden Daniels, 2023.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Caleb Williams, 2022.
I think that was a default Heisman, and I think that Heisman goes to C.J. Stroud if C.J. Stroud beats Michigan. So I'll say no, but I mean when
my question like rebuttal is as like, why does it matter if this is about the best player
in the country?
Yeah,
well, because of the optics of it matter as well. Like you have here we go. It's best player paired with Heisman moment.
Okay, 2021 Bryce Young.
Here's the thing. Yeah, like I'll give it yes. Like that's fine because guess what all those guys did? They ended up being the number 1 overall pick. So like I'm okay with those guys winning the Heismans.
And then 2020 was Devontae Smith, which
those are all good Heisman votes. Those are all good. Those are all fine. But you know, I guess I think I'm more speaking of like outside the scope of like winning the Heisman, but like Heisman consideration. I think there is something to that. Like for Georgia Tech or for Vandy or for schools like that, getting someone in New York is damn near like winning the Heisman. But I don't want to
spend the same thing about Indiana.
Yeah, except for Mendoza is actually in conversation for best in the country. Like here we go. If you are being considered for the number 1 overall pick, I want to see you in New York.
I agree.
That's kind of
the same thing when Chase Young got invited to New York.
Yeah. And honestly, Ohio State should have 3 guys in New York because JK also ran for 2K. So what a wild year that was. But yeah, no,
none of them won it.
None of them won it.
No Ohio State player won it.
Honestly, the Jerry Emig, motion is undefeated. I do want to jump because Iowa scored 41 versus Minnesota, and they're being talked about a lot. And Iowa is fun again. Iowa's a fun little team. I love the little Iowa podcast, the little engine that could. And then scored 41. That's a stamp. That's a stamp.
I was ready to lie on this show about Iowa being a real playoff contender. Then I saw who they play next, and I was like, tough.
Yeah. And they already have 2 losses, and that kind of hurts them because you obviously like a 3-loss team getting in, it's going to take chaos and it's going to take extraordinary brand bias. They don't have the brand bias. I don't think the chaos will benefit them, but they do have Oregon next week in what should be a really interesting game, especially because Iowa, at least offensively, feels like they're peaking, and Oregon on the flip side doesn't feel like a juggernaut offensively. They only scored 21 points against Wisconsin. So it makes you wonder, like, could this be set up for at least an interesting game?
I think so. I think Iowa's always going to be that annoying. They play really good defense.
Yeah.
They usually don't turn the ball over. They don't turn the ball over. They just can't move the ball.
Right.
Moving forward is hard enough, let alone throwing it to the other team. So it's going to be an annoying thing. I think, Dan Lanning doing an onside kick to open the game against Wisconsin was the biggest D-bag move I ever did see from a coach.
I want to agree with you, but I think Wisconsin is so bad right now. They're just the let's try this out.
That's the reason why I'm saying it's a D-bag move.
Well, it's like you got to do it. Here's the thing. I think Dan Lanning understands that Iowa next week is going to be a better challenge than nationally it's presented. So during this Wisconsin game, I'm going to do annoying things to give Iowa and their coaching staff more things to worry about and be on guard about. It's like when Ryan Day did the little pooch kick against I believe it was Maryland to Chris Olave that was just a sniper shot, which didn't have any impact on the game. It wasn't going to, but it's just something for everybody else to have on tape.
Dude, that game's also in Iowa, and it's probably going to be a night game.
Yeah, Kinnick Stadium.
Oregon's going to wait till all those kids in the hospital, and it's over. It's cooked.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Dan Lanning's not waving, and I want people to be ready for that. Dan, and then we're really gonna call him a D-back.
Are you trying to say Dan Lanning's gonna be FTK?
Yeah, he's FTK. I'm not waving. We haven't got a ball game to go win, and he'll make up for the next day going to the hospital and like shaking kids' hands just to cure the optics. But he's not waving to those kids, man. He's not waving to those kids. It's Dan Lanning.
Fuck
right?
Kids.
It's Dan Lanning. It's right. Like, why would Dan Lanning wave to those kids? Do you think Oregon only scoring 21 points, did that pique your interest a little bit? Because it is Wisconsin, and Wisconsin has one of the worst passing defenses in the country. And Dante Moore only 9 for 15.
It was like, why did they only throw it 15 times? Did you not watch what Ohio State did?
Yeah.
Did you not take a look at what they did? It was one of the most confusing things I've ever seen.
It was, and I will say, their run game got going eventually. They ended up running for 203 yards, but it was just surprising to me not to see them throw the ball.
On how many carries? On how many carries?
45.
Yeah, damn, you better run for 200 yards. You're going to run it 45 times.
Yeah, 200 yards, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. Only 2 rushing touchdowns, and then Brock Thomas also threw 4 passes for 46 yards. There's one of those weird games, man. like I thought they were going to use this game as like a way to really get Dante Moore some confidence and like get him comfortable and to obviously like give more things on tape for Iowa to have to worry about. But they ended up. I mean, he ended up getting hurt. I'll say that. Dante Moore ended up getting hurt, and they ended up going to Rock Thomas, and that kind of changed some things. But I am not quite super sure what the status is for him, and I'm not super sure what the passing attack was. And here we go. If Dante Moore's hurt and you don't want to risk anything further, like then yeah, that's fine. Run the ball 45 times. You're going to get out of here with a win.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that. Yeah, that's probably that is a big factor. Still, I mean, 45 times for only 200. I'm not. I shouldn't say only 203 yards, but like, you would hope that you could run for 200 yards if you run it 45 times.
Mm-hmm.
And
he did leave the game. Like, so just real quick, Dante Moore left the game in the third quarter. And do you know what the injury was? I didn't think I've ever seen this in the injury report.
I do not.
A nose injury.
Damn. Did blood catch a three-piece?
I don't know. But I've never heard that before in an injury report. But yeah, no, he left the game in the third quarter. So it's not like he was on pace to like, go absolutely crazy. So yeah, he left the game in the third quarter. I think it was bothering him, but yeah. Anyway, it just the Oregon thing I think is fascinating. I did not watch
that game. Should be. It'll probably be a night game. Should be or 3:30 because it's Oregon's playing. So it won't be new. It'll be 3:30 at least. That'll be Iowa should be ranked. Hope they should.
Yeah, they'll be ranked. They'll be ranked.
That'll be an interesting matchup. I'm curious to see what that opening line comes out at. On tomorrow, but I still would. I'm going to pick Oregon,
right?
Would it shock me? Would it shock me if Iowa pulls this off? Absolutely not.
I think it would not shock me, but be like, oh shoot, I didn't think they had it in them. And a 2-loss Oregon team, I wouldn't have called their second loss.
I'm taking the under
to Iowa. For me at least, I didn't watch this game live. I had to go back and watch it this morning, which is always an adventure because like I don't think Wisconsin is ever worth watching unless your team is playing them.
Yeah.
So, just generally speaking,
I saw snippets of it, so I was.
It wasn't. I mean, it was a boring game. It wasn't really worth watching. Both quarterbacks threw for 86 yards, which is so bizarre in the whole vacuum of things. And Dante Moore completed 9 passes. Simmons completed 7 passes. So you could tell it was a really exciting game to watch.
Yeah.
Michigan versus Michigan State. I did watch this game in its entirety, and you can feel Michigan going back to what made them a really good program. They're running the ball. They have kind of a 3-headed rushing attack monster. I felt like their offensive line was getting some push. I don't think Michigan State is very good, but just because one team isn't very good, if I'm seeing you execute what you do at a high level, I'm like, okay, all you can do is play the guys in front of you, and the rushing attack went berserk. They had 3 guys score touchdowns. Bryce Underwood on the one, I believe, end around or quarterback run or whatever along the left side looked just like Terrell Pryor to me. I was like, okay, shoot, like you got it a little bit. And it was, it was cool to see him kind of catch the edge like that and be able to fly out there. So, we're watching Michigan kind of figure it out, and they have ditched the bubble screens for the most part. And they are a team that should have Ohio State fans on high alert. When I think Ohio State fans were already on high alert, I do think their running back duo is the second best in the country, and that has my attention.
Chris, if you ever say Bryce Underwood looks like Terrell Pryor ever again, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
But wait a second.
Even if you believe that, I don't want to hear you say that out loud.
But that's what he is. Like
no.
Bryce Underwood is their Terrell Pryor.
Just because he is their Terrell Pryor doesn't mean he is Terrell Pryor.
I mean, he looks like not as athletic, but he looks.
Say it out loud, man.
Like, what do you mean?
Just don't say it out loud.
Wait a second. Think about all the similarities. Like, here we go. Underwood coming to Michigan.
Dude, I'm not saying that he's not special. I'm just not giving him my hatred for Michigan is not going to allow me to ever say that and agree with it.
That's
just
fair.
Not going to happen.
That's fair. But you don't agree with it, but just listen to how crazy the similarities are. Jim Tressel at Ohio State was the 3 yards in a cloud of dust team, right? They landed Terrell Pryor. Then all of a sudden you started seeing a lot more pistol looks, even though they were a rushing team. He shouldn't have went there if he was looking to kind of open up the entire toolbox. Underwood committed to Michigan, and they were the 3 yards in a cloud of dust team. So it's like we have to prove we can develop quarterbacks, because Ohio State didn't do a good enough job proving they could develop quarterbacks before they landed a guy like Terrell Pryor. Now, on the flip side, there was a Troy Smith involved earlier on, prior, that made playing the quarterback position at Ohio State cool. So it's like I just feel like that's an easy similarity for me to get to in terms of the two. But I know it's great. But Michigan, he's still a freshman, though. He does look like a freshman at times. They got really lucky that the fumble got called back for an offsides that I don't think was an offsides that would have really changed the game flow of that game entirely. Michigan ends up winning 31-20 over Michigan State. I don't know what to think about Michigan's defense at this point. At times, they were getting kind of chopped up a little bit in the slot. Michigan is a ranked team. I think they're going to finish probably just inside the top 20. They have my attention. They should have everybody's full attention at this point, just because their style of play is going back to what we thought it was. Another quarterback, just for the record, 3 Big Ten quarterbacks threw for 86 yards on Saturday. Bryce Underwood was the third one.
They absolutely have my attention. And they really have my attention. They've had my attention for about probably since, I'm trying to think of when the last time, probably since Washington.
Okay, yeah.
Just because, like, Ohio State just needs to wake up and they're going to win their next 4 games by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, roll out of bed. Go play.
So they absolutely have my full attention. I think they're really starting to figure it out. Of course, I'm going to be nervous about it. Any Ohio State fan tells you they're not nervous about it is lying. Any Ohio State fan that tells you that this game doesn't matter is lying and coping. This game is going to be – it's going to feel like a lot. And I hope that Ryan Day is ready for it. I hope that he is, keeping things the way that looking at things the way he should look at them, by going to the advantages that he has, and just being himself, letting Ohio State be who they are. Because this Michigan team is getting better. They're better. They're significantly better than last year. Their defense is not as good, but they have a pulse offensively, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I am nervous. I am ready. I'm still expecting Ohio State to win that game and go on and play Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. But this game absolutely has my full attention.
49 rushing attempts for 276, averaging 5.6 yards per carry and 4 touchdowns. So, and they do have a difference maker outside. I want people to, Andrew Marsh is a really good player. He only had 54 yards, but he's a really, really good player. And there's been a couple times this year where he has been the best receiver on the field. There's been a couple times. I do want to stay in the Big Ten. Indiana makes another case dominating UCLA. I have this in my folder of impressive wins over the weekend. You do not. This wasn't really surprising or impressive to you. Indiana is really, really good. Indiana is the second best team in the country. And if the college football playoff rankings came out and they had them as the number 1 team in the country, I, for one, would not be offended. I did love the picture of or the video of Urban Meyer staring down Cignetti, and they asked him, "What are you looking at, coach?" And it's like, I'm sizing him up because we might have them in the Big Ten championship game. Sig continues to do it, man. And I was wondering if they would cover. They doubled it. So shout out to Indiana. And I think that Mendoza does deserve kind of being the Heisman frontrunner right now. But the part of this that I think is fascinating and matters is that Mendoza didn't play his best game and they went belt to ass. I really think a valuable part of college football is teams that can win when their quarterback doesn't have their best day. That's a sign of a well-coached team and a deep team, and that matters, especially when you have to go win, 4 games to win a championship at the end, like the playoff games. You have to go win those, and if you can win those games and your quarterback doesn't have his best day, kudos to you. I did think it was messed up, dude. I talked about this in a thing I dropped a little bit ago. The first time I've seen Tim Skipper on any social media post was after Indiana went belt to ass. What happened to little Joffrey Lannister? Most people didn't even know that Tim Skipper's the interim head coach at UCLA. They think he's that little blonde kid. Don't they? Don't people think it's the blonde kid?
I mean, I didn't, but yes, people did think that because like all of a sudden UCLA can score some points. Listen, if we would have talked about this game on our preview show, I would have said that Indiana is going to beat their ass. The only difference is that I never believed, just because UCLA won 3 games in a row, I didn't believe it. I think Indiana is really, really good. And I think this is what elite teams do to really bad teams. This is what it's supposed to look like.
So nothing about this game surprised you?
No.
Okay, I don't believe
and
you.
I'm not trying to discredit Indiana. No. I'm trying to prop them up.
I don't believe you. If I told you before the game that Fernando Mendoza would throw for under 170 yards and Indiana would win 56-6, you would have said what?
I probably would have said that they ran the shit out of the ball.
No, you would have said no way. You would have said there's no shot that Indiana.
They also got a pick 6.
They did. Okay, take the
pick
6.
What I'm saying is, like, you can't say the hypothetical, like, if how would I have known what they were? I just thought they were going to win their game by what it looked like.
Then you need to start betting again, because they only.
UCLA is not a good football team, and Indiana is the clear cut. Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M are so much better than everybody else. It doesn't even matter.
If someone said that Indiana's best player didn't have a good game, you would not say they beat.
I
UCLA
would
by 50.
I'm okay, not by 50, but like I would say they would have. Okay, so what's really the difference between 5 touchdowns and 2 more? It's still belt to ass.
Yeah, it's impressive that they won this game and their 2 best players.
They are significantly better than UCLA is. I think that they're really good. This is what I think.
No, I'm saying they are really good. They are really good. But the spread was 27.5. And I know they were going to go belt to ass no matter what. Them going belt to ass and their 2 best players not having a good game is wildly impressive. It is.
I think they're complete. I think they're. I'm trying. I don't know how else to say this. I am not trying to discredit Indiana. I'm trying to like prop them up and be like, this is what it should look like.
We're propping them up in different ways, because my belief is I think to beat a team by 50, generally speaking, you need to have your very best players play well. Because look, here's the thing:
but they have a lot of really good players.
They do. Thank you. They do.
And that's what I'm saying.
Well, I don't.
Ohio State won by 5 touchdowns, and they ran the ball for 77 yards and still won by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, but wait a second.
This is what really good teams look like.
Pause. I'm gonna stop you right there. That is an unfair equivalency, because what is the weakest part of Ohio State's offense? No, I'm asking you serious. What is the weakest part of Ohio State's offense?
It's their running game. But if you win by 50, you do everything good.
Stop right there. It's the run game. The run game is the biggest part of their biggest issue. This is a wildly impressive win against the UCLA team that is better than the record.
Get me all riled up. Get me all riled up.
I'm just saying, bro, like going into the week, like UCLA was tied for 3rd in the Big Ten.
I didn't buy it.
Okay. This is an impressive win, no matter how you slice it. They dominated UCLA more than Ohio State dominated Wisconsin, and they dominated UCLA more than Oregon dominated Wisconsin. I just think it's an impressive win. I know UCLA is not a great team. I think they are a team that's better than their record. I think they're a talented team, and I think they've kind of showed that.
That's the only difference here. That's the only disagreement we have here. Because I think UCLA is exactly who they are, and you think they're better. That's the only difference here. That's the only disagreement we have in this moment.
So you don't think UCLA is better than the record?
No.
So when they open up the year 0-4,
because I also don't believe Nico was any good. Like, I've seen Nico. I think he's ass.
So you think there was no change in UCLA from the time their coach got fired to now?
Playing hard for the interim guy. We've seen it 100,000 times.
So wait, I just want you to go on the record. I want you to say that UCLA before their coach got fired and UCLA after their coach got fired is the same team. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Out of your mind. Ole Miss takes care of OU, Oklahoma. Lane Kiffin gets a big win this year. They have 1 loss. This was a really fun game to watch. Obviously, Brent Venables versus Lane Kiffin, an offense and a defense that are both wildly, like, very college-y, and 2 guys that will never be NFL guys to me. Lane Kiffin committed to the run game, which I always wonder if that's what kind of deteriorates him in big games, because we know Lane Kiffin as a quarterback guy. I do think he does have a pretty deep run bag. They ran the ball 41 times, averaging only 2.8 yards per carry. And their lead back, Kwan Lacey, 2.9 yards per carry, but 2 touchdowns. They committed to the run game, man. And Trinidad Chambliss threw for 315. They got the win. I think that the OU slide is going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped another game to officially eliminate them from the postseason.
They're going to drop another game. They're going to play Alabama. They're going to lose another game.
Well, we'll talk about Bama in a sec. But wildly impressive from Ole Miss. I feel like Lane Kiffin's turning over a new leaf right before he turns over into a new job. So excited about this team in particular.
I watched the first half of this game, and then we went to the Copley community trick or treating, and I was checking the score while we were walking around, and I was like, "Whoa, what?" Like Ole Miss was dominating them in the first half.
They were,
and then all of a sudden it was a game, and then it wasn't a game again. I was like, "What the? This is the drunkest game ever."
Well, OU outscored them coming out of the half. Brent Venables always does the good thing of making like really good adjustments at halftime. They came out and they held Ole Miss to 3 points and they scored 16, but then they didn't score again in the fourth quarter. OU didn't score again in the fourth quarter. So
you think Lane's going to have his pick of the litter when he comes to these jobs?
I don't think every job's a fit for him. So I think that some boosters will avoid Lane Kiffin, to be honest.
You think Texas will avoid Lane Kiffin?
You
think if Texas becomes open, because Sark came out and said that this is the wildly untrue, blah, 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 whatever. Coach speak. Would Texas run away from Lane Kiffin? Like, is Texas too serious of a job for Lane Kiffin?
Probably, but no, I don't think they would. I think they would take Lane. I think they would absolutely take Lane.
Is LSU too serious of a job for Lane Kiffin?
Is what?
Is LSU too serious of a job for Lane Kiffin?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Penn State is not a fit for Lane Kiffin, I don't think.
No, I think Lane Kiffin belongs in the South.
Right. So Texas, LSU, Florida. I feel like he's going to get to pick. If they all were to come open, he's going to get to pick.
Yeah. No, I think so. I mean, right now, this is kind of a little bit of a masterclass for him, because last year with Jackson Dart, who's the best quarterback he's had since being at Ole Miss, they lost some games they definitely shouldn't have, and he had some really bad blunders. Like last year, taking Jackson Dart out of the game for a 4th and 1 against Florida that they needed to convert.
He did it again. He did it again yesterday.
Well, yeah, he did do it again yesterday.
And at the end of the first half, he did it again.
Well,
and then they call him on camera, and he told himself that he was a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Well, for me at least, I think it's a little bit different in this case. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss is like an NFL quarterback. For Jackson Dart, it was a little bit crazy. And I do know, and I will give Lane Kiffin at least flowers for some of the stuff he's done. Like, he believes in Austin Simmons, right?
Clearly.
Like, he put him in for the 2-point conversion. Austin Simmons has the obviously clearly like the bigger arm and more upside. He's just been bad so far. They're trying to work him back, and they kind of want to give him a chance, which makes it feel like maybe Lane Kiffin feels like he needs Austin Simmons' talent in the playoffs, or at least in spots and moments, even though Trinidad Chambliss is like the more steady Freddie player right now. They're over 315 again, and then Austin Simmons over 2, and then the 2-point conversion.
I mean, Ole Miss has pretty much locked themselves into the playoff.
Yeah, they have.
Just like keep breathing, and you're in.
Well, I do worry about that, because like that was the case last year, right?
No, I know.
It's like, who did they lose? They lost to Florida near the end of the year. They still have Florida on the schedule.
Yeah. Well,
and I also think South Carolina is a good enough team to get them.
Speaking of South Carolina, real quick, how come there's nobody talking about Shane Beamer's job?
People always talk about Shane Beamer's job. I think that they will always be a school that never wants to open up when there's another big opening.
I don't know, man. Like, this is the best roster South Carolina's had in a long time.
Yeah.
Before Frank Beamer or Shane Beamer. Sorry.
I mean, I don't know, because I guess, like, does a seat get hot when you lose to an elite team, I guess? And that's, I guess, the conversation that we're going to have. Well, let's do it now.
How many elite? I mean, but like, they're losing all the games.
Yeah, I know. And so if we're going to have this conversation, like, it needs to be probably before they go play Bama. And I thought they played Bama pretty tough. Lenore Sellers looks pretty good at times. That South Carolina offensive line and pass pro sometimes is god awful.
Their offensive line is definitely a problem. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not, but like, dude, they are. Let me pull it up real quick. I mean, they've lost to Vanderbilt, Missouri, LSU, Oklahoma, and Alabama.
Yeah,
And they've beaten Virginia Tech, South Carolina State, and Kentucky. But like, they play Ole Miss, they play Texas A&M, they play Coastal Carolina, they play Clemson, and they're gonna be 4-8. They're not going to be a bowl team.
I mean, and I hear you. I mean, I think maybe it'll buy
that schedule. The schedule's doing them no favors.
Yeah,
I agree, but like, this was supposed to be their chance. They had Lenore Sellers, who people think is a first-round quarterback, which I don't agree with. Never really agreed with. And then they had like a top 5 defensive line in all of college football.
Yeah, their D line is really good. I mean, Dylan Stewart's so impressive, dude.
You said their practices must be hell.
Yeah, no, because I was watching the game, like I'm watching their offensive line get absolutely just like touched up, and then I'm watching their defensive line just touch Alabama's offensive line up. Like they're really disruptive. I don't know how they practice. I'm so that I don't know how they practice. And then additionally,
they never go good on good.
I mean, they can't go good on good. I think their biggest failure, honestly, is like not getting Nicholas Harbor more involved. Like they got the freakiest athlete in all of college football, like by kind of a wide margin. And he caught one ball against Alabama. You know what it was? A 54-yard touchdown.
Oh,
where
nice.
He created probably about 5 yards of separation, and Lenore Sellers uncorked this ball and still underthrew him. Like he's 6'5", 240. He runs a sub 10.5.
That's DK Metcalf.
I mean, he's freakier than DK Metcalf. Like he's a more impressive athlete than DK Metcalf.
I'm just saying, that schedule is doing them no favors. But to be South Carolina coming into this year and not even make it to a bowl game, that's a tough pill to swallow, man.
It is. But I think in this game, I mean, I think I'll worry about like the Shane Beamer firing stuff at some point later on. Right now, they're just like they're not good enough, he's not good enough, and they're not good enough for me to have any interest in that job kind of opening up. Because if he gets fired, it's because of the year being a complete failure, rather than the pressure cooker firings where we're sick and tired of our coach losing 3 games. So I have him in different tiers. Alabama
kind of just selfishly want him to get fired, so Dylan Stewart comes to the portal and we can get him.
That's also reasonable, and maybe they don't even need a firing for that to happen, but that'll be an offseason topic. Kalen DeBoer holding this team together and really gutsy calls down the stretch. Is there a better fourth quarter coach in the sport? He's really good in fourth quarters, man. And that's honestly why he's going to win a lot of big games throughout his career. He was good in fourth quarters when he was at Washington, and that's how they beat Dan Lanning, who was generally pretty decent in fourth quarters, but DeBoer in the fourth quarter, like, always does a good job of getting of breaking through and believing in it. And they won this game in a game where Ty Simpson was good, not great, but did throw for 250 and 2 touchdowns, kept the ball safe, and they dealt with a lot of drops. Ryan Williams had some pretty bad drops in the game too. Does this game make you feel better or worse about? Or here we do. Does this game? Do you think higher or lower of Alabama after this game?
I guess I'm going to say lower because I just said that South Carolina has been like really disappointing, but again, it's on the road at night. You know, I think it's very hard to win games on the road. So I try not to like poo-poo that when it happens. I don't think that there is. I think Ty Simpson is like. I don't think he's getting the John Mateer credit. Like we all think John Mateer is literally carrying Oklahoma to all their wins, right? Well, Ty Simpson's doing the same thing. I know he's like up there in the Heisman vote, but like I just feel like he's the one that's like he's the NFL quarterback that's elevating everybody around him. And he didn't play very good.
I know. I thought he played well, not great. This was whenever a college quarterback does for 250, I give him flowers. Like, that's good against that defense. Like,
24 of 43, so just over 50% completion percentage. They still can't run. I mean, dude, is Alabama like Ohio State light?
they do have a little bit of Ohio State in them in terms of like they're struggling to run the ball a little bit right now. I do think Jim Miller is probably a better back than Bo Jackson today. But I could be wrong. Jim Miller, maybe like because I've seen more body of work from Jim Miller. Now Bo Jackson's better than Jam actually, but yeah, no, I mean they do have some OSU light tendencies.
Yeah, they have a quarterback carrying them. Has good playmakers on the outside. The defense is, good enough. And when you say Ohio State light, it's like, well, they don't have the same pass catchers we have, and their defense is clearly not as good.
Right. They do have like explosive pass catchers, but like no
So,
one.
I mean,
like Carnell Tate is better than Ryan Williams.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean that's like definitely up for debate for a lot of people, but to me, like
not here, not on this show.
I clearly feel like one is not like the other.
So like Alabama has LSU at home, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Then they have Oklahoma at home. I mean, they don't have to leave the state of Alabama the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They have Eastern Illinois, and then they have Auburn. But they do have to go to Auburn. And, like, weird shit happens at that stadium. There's just weird stuff.
Yeah.
But, again, they're going to the playoff. They should beat Auburn. They should win. They should win out. And they should go to the SEC championship game and play Texas A&M. But I don't feel as good. Like, I was ready to say that they're like a legitimate. I still think they're a championship contender, like a national championship contender, but not as high as I was.
Got you. I'm just as high as I was. They just continue to gut things out. Like Ty Simpson just can string together NFL throw after NFL throw after NFL throw that really I think only two other quarterbacks in the country can do. And it's Julian Sayin and it's Fernando Mendoza, and then honorable mention CJ Carr. And he does it with like elite footwork. He's processing information at a high clip. Like, I love watching him play quarterback. He does the things that you can look back and sit and say, okay, this works. And in a playoff setting, you're going to need a quarterback that is comfortable with making a lot of tight window throws because of the significant step up in defense you're going to get. Ryan Williams got to catch the ball, though. Ryan Williams has to catch the ball. Yeah. It's funny, though, also in the SEC, what's kind of happened, and I'll touch on it a little bit more. It used to be the conference of really, really fantastic defense. It's backsliding closer to you injected some Big 12 into that conference, and all of a sudden, people forget how to good old play some defense. Yeah. LSU lost to A&M, and it was at home at night, and was supposed to be the most dangerous environment in the country. And Brian Kelly is getting killed today, which I don't think he should be, but
I think he should be. And it's just because the way it happened. It's not like they should have lost. If they would have lost 31-27, like, that's a different story. Like, you gave up a 50 burger.
Yeah, but they were up at the half. So it's not like it was like belt to ass the entire game. Like, there was just a clear separation in the third quarter. A&M got it going.
You were in the game.
Yeah,
and then it's just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Why does this continue? Why is this happening to LSU?
No, this was this was a bad loss, mostly because it was at home. I find it funny because
Did you see the clip? Did you see the clip of Brian Kelly essentially firing his special teams analyst on the sideline?
Yes, sir, I did.
He is the biggest asshole. Just the worst, man.
But at least I don't know. Yeah, he's an asshole. He was, the camera people for that game, I was joking about it earlier. They were being every time something went bad for LSU, immediate zoom in on Brian Kelly's face. I wish I could read lips, and I would have a full video of the Brian Kelly, dialogue between him and his coaches. He was mother effing this guy, mother effing that guy. He was on a crazy tear, ripping through just about everybody on Saturday.
But like, he can't figure it out because he's a poser. This was never a fit.
I agree with that. I think I agree. This was never a fit.
All those kids down there that are from Baton Rouge and New Orleans, they see right through that shit. No way did they ever believe in him and want to play for him.
Yeah, and I think maybe my pushback is like, even if you're like not a fit, I think if you're a good enough coach with a good enough roster, you should be able to win a couple of these games, right? Because like I don't know how
I
you
think you
feel.
got to have a little bit of something to you, like some shit
guess-
about you. Like Les Miles was kind of like a shit talker.
Okay, my pushback is this: was Elko a fit at A&M?
I mean, that's low key like a military school. Like Mike Elko feels like he could be like kind of
Mike Elko was at Notre Dame, and then Mike Elko coached at Duke.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of smart ass people at Texas.
No, I know smart. I'm not talking about like intelligence. I'm just talking about like regional fit. Anyway,
yeah, like, no, you know what I'm saying about Brian Kelly,
do.
man.
No, I hear you.
Brian Kelly is as white as this water bottle, dog.
Yeah, I
hear he is not for the culture at all.
I hear you. I'm not giving Brian Kelly shit for this game because since when do we fault a team outside or 20 or lower in the rankings for losing to a team in the top 3 like this? When is that ever?
Well, that what you're saying is it's everybody. It's my fault for believing the hype of the LSU.
Yeah, that's more where I'm at. It's like you're saying this now, but like everybody
that's
believed
fair.
in Brian Kelly and LSU.
I can accept that. That.
No one ever gets flack for losing like this to a top 3 team in the country. Like this might just be A&M's year, big dog. And like my big thing
I'm a believer in A&M.
Me too. My big thing is you and a bunch of other people sold yourself on Garrett Nussmeier. That's where everybody went wrong.
Yep.
Brian Kelly sold himself on Nussmeier. Everybody sold themselves on Garrett Nussmeier. And
I admittedly have a soft spot for LSU. I always have ever since I was a kid. I love LSU baseball. Mm-hmm. It's just like a soft spot. I think Baton Rouge at night is just like is probably the top of my bucket list of college athletics, as I just want to be there and I want to experience it, but like this is the second time in 2 years that he's gotten his doors blown off at home at night.
Yeah.
Last year, Alabama came down and pulled his skirt down and won 42-13.
Well, and last year A&M bullied LSU, and I did a short video on it, a quick moment. Do you know what happened? You know what happened when Brian Kelly got to LSU?
No.
He fired his strength coach. He fired the LSU strength coach. The LSU strength coach had been there for the previous 3 national titles at LSU. Loved LSU. Wanted to be there. Do you know where he's at right now?
Texas A&M.
He's at A&M.
Yeah, bro. Brian Kelly sucks. He sucks. I don't want to hear another word about Brian Kelly being a top whatever. No, he stinks.
The part that stings about this is Brian Kelly came in and was committed to being his own coach and doing things his own way, and he made a risk by firing a strength coach that had been there that was royalty, and it ended up haunting. It's
like Ryan Day firing Mickey Marani. Like, what a dumbass decision would that be?
Yeah, but if you have a guy you want to bring with you, like it is what it is.
Dog, tell the guy you're bringing with you, like, hey man, you're second in command. I'll pay you well, but like you're second in command.
Okay, so but you bet on yourself though if it works, right? Because like wait a second, like Urban Meyer, when Urban Meyer got to Ohio State, should he have trusted the strength coach that was already there?
No. Didn't he have the best strength coach? Wasn't Mickey Marani regarded as like the best strength coach at the time?
I do not. I was young. I don't believe so. I know Eric.
Like it was him and the dude from Alabama that screams all the damn time.
Well, not at that time. I don't think. I'd have to go back and look. But my point is Lichter won a national title. Lichter had we finally had motion with Eric Lichter, and it's like, well, when you're trying to launch a program ahead, like we were not as good as we should have been. Let's go.
I mean, you talking about Ohio State?
Yeah.
Yeah, they won a championship in 2002. It's been over a decade.
Yeah, no, I guess. So
it's like the shine's kind of worn off. But I also don't. But I think that LSU is like the way that those like LSU alumni talk about that program. It feels very like, I don't know the term, like it feels just, it has like a different, not aura. Aura's not the right word. It just feels very like Louisiana. Like it feels very, I don't know how to explain it. Ohio State feels like a much larger, job where it's like, okay, I'm going to bring the best guy I know in. But like, if you have somebody that's from Louisiana, from that area, like it feels different. Like outsiders are not welcome in Louisiana, almost is what it feels like.
No, that's real. I mean, Nick Saban was.
It's a very poor explanation, but I just couldn't find the words for it. But
yeah, I'm saying Nick Saban was welcome down there, so hopefully they were trying to get their own.
Nick Saban was also the greatest college football coach of all time. So
I know. Well, yeah, and I will plead my case down the road that I think that Pete's better, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, Brian Kelly got asked about his job afterwards, and you could tell the reporter was nervous to ask him about his job.
Yeah, because he's an asshole.
Well, I thought he gave a really great answer, talking about how it's not up to him, and he's been coaching for 30 years, and right now he owned up to it and said, right now we're not good enough, and that a lot of that's on me. When I hear that from a guy like Brian Kelly, who's like regarded as like super arrogant, it's like, okay, was this the sobering experience, losing at night in front of your fans? Like, was this sobering enough for you to actually look in the mirror and do whatever it takes to get better?
I don't think he's going to get a chance.
You think?
I wonder if Brian Kelly will negotiate his buyout down so he can take the Penn State job. Because I think Brian Kelly thinks highly of himself, that he thinks that like, oh, I'm a shoo-in if I want that job. Brian Kelly thinks that Brian Kelly can get any job he wants. That's how I think Brian Kelly thinks of himself.
I don't think Brian Kelly would take the Penn State job. He gave a list of reasons of why he left Notre Dame. How is Penn State not him going back to like a Notre Dame level job?
Because that's who Brian Kelly is. And I wonder if you said it was a sobering experience for him losing like this last night. That might have been like, you know what? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this life down the South is not for me.
And do you think this game is enough to get him fired though? Because I think a lot of people acknowledge this might just be A&M's year, big dog.
I think A&M is the third best team in the country. I think they're going to run the table in the SEC, and they're going to go to the SEC title game, and they're going to play Alabama, and that's going to be a hell of a game. I think Alabama and A&M are significantly better than the rest of the SEC. I think the SEC is lacking the top end talent that the Big Ten has in the Big Three. I think there are a bunch of good and a bunch of bad in the SEC. But A&M and Alabama are significantly better, and A&M is better than Alabama. The quarterback is he's athletic enough. The receivers are.
Ooh, A&M's quarterback?
Yeah.
He's really athletic.
He's really athletic.
Freak.
I think Mike Elko is a really good football coach, and I think that he is doing what he has to do each game to win. I think it's going to bite them in the ass against a really good. I don't know if A&M, the way that they play, because they play down to their competition. They play up to it and down to it all the time. And
I think that's just a result of them not having a great defense. I don't think they play up or down anybody. I think that they have to go pedal to the metal for longer against teams who can score against them, because I don't think their defense is that good. That's why I have them as the third best.
But they held Mississippi State to like 13 points, and Mississippi State just scored 38 points on Texas, who we thought was a really great defense as well.
If you're going to do that, you can acknowledge that Arkansas hung 40 against them.
Yes. But isn't Arkansas, they'll have a good offense too? Yeah, I mean, that's what I think that they play up and down to their, like, whatever. I don't know if Texas A&M is good enough to win 4 big games in a row.
My thing is, like, I think it's their defense is the issue.
Probably.
Like, their defense can get gas.
They're not a complete, like, there's only 2 complete teams in college football.
Yeah, but like of the elite teams, like after the first 2, like that drop off in defense is crazy. Because like, here we go. Let's go common opponents. I know that they obviously they played Notre Dame and they won, but Notre Dame also played Arkansas. Arkansas scored 13 points against them.
Yeah.
So it's like, just when we see it, it's like, you have closer games than they should be, because you're susceptible to getting gashed And when you get gashed, it naturally tightens up the game a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're very good. I think they're very scary. Any team that should not want to play Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're good enough to win 4 elite games in a row.
You got 2 NFL receivers, so they're capable of scoring a lot of points. Their quarterback's dynamic and really fun. And like you said, Mike Oko's a really good coach. So I'm just interested to see. I don't think they have a case for number 1 team in the country, even though I've seen some people who are, insufferable and not very good at this talk about them as the number 1 team in the country. I think that like this week legit has been about like, since Ohio State didn't play, the cool thing is like pick a new number 1 because there is a level of like Ohio State fatigue going on right now. And to pick a new number 1 in a form to hate Ohio State is funny because before SEC people were saying, well, Indiana's the number 1 team in the country. Indiana should be number 1 as like an internal hatred of Ohio State. But now that A&M is undefeated, it's like, oh, well, no, not Indiana, not Ohio State. It should be A&M, number 1 team in the country, when I don't think they are. It's just kind of like chasing something. Texas versus Mississippi State. Huge comeback win for Sark. This segment was almost completely different. Reports in the morning from The Athletic about Steve Sarkisian being interested in the Titans job or a leap to the NFL coming out morning of game day. And then during the game, they're down. And it's like, oh, my God, like, did this team check out? Did they lose the locker room? Is Steve Sarkisian looking ahead? Is almost what this segment was about. And then Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian took over the game. Ryan Wingo, huge plays. We got kind of the offensive takeover and offensive leap from them. And they came back and win. And it was a huge win. And then Sark addressed all the NFL stuff after the game, saying it's absolutely a lie, not the case at all. And the fact that my agents had to issue a statement the day of the game is ridiculous, and he was pretty pissed off. I think that this could be a stepping stone for Arch Manning, dog. I'm going to keep it a stack.
Yeah, this could be a moment for Arch Manning. Absolutely. It would have been a really bad loss for Texas. I do want to talk about Sark for a second, though. Somebody told that reporter something.
That's my stance.
Somebody did. Now, who that person is, what their connection is to Sark, I'm not going to speculate. I have no idea. But somebody told that reporter something about Sark being interested in the NFL.
Yeah, I believe it was Diana. I don't know her last name. Diana from The Athletic.
Yeah. Is it very poor timing that the report came out? Sure. But Sark needs to look in his inner circle and be like, all right, who talked? Who said something? Because I just don't think that stuff comes out if there isn't a little bit of truth to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like where there's always some truth in a lie.
It's just too random and removed for it to be like entirely made up. Now, my inference, my educated guess, and I want just a guess. My guess is that someone from the Titans told somebody that, yeah, we're interested in Sark. We like what Sark's done with quarterbacks, and his agent is answering our calls. I think that is likely closer to what happened. And here we go, Tyler. The issue with this kind of thing is it's always the agent's job to answer calls, right? It's always their job to talk and be like, well, what are numbers? What would it look like? Da-da-da. Like that is the job of them.
Which job is better, the Tennessee Titans job or the Texas Longhorns job?
The Longhorns.
Agreed.
The Longhorns, dog. I mean, in the NFL, you're set up to go 8-8 every year with a swing game in there for the 17th game. At Texas, you're set up to win 9 games every year, and you should hopefully run into enough money that there's enough talent there for you to win a game. But I really do think it's
Tennessee just fired their coach 23 games into his tenure?
Yeah, and before the halfway mark of the NFL season with a rookie quarterback. So I think likely it came from the Titans side of things and not from the Texas side of things. And I think that's kind of an important thing. I think that's where things can kind of get blurred, right? Because here we go. Tyler, if you're my agent and I'm the head coach at Alabama and the Seattle Seahawks job opens up and the Seattle GM calls you, hey, would your client Chris Drew be interested in the Seattle job? An irresponsible agent would say, no, click.
Yeah. No, 100%. No,
That's my inference. That's my
I can
guess.
get behind that.
Yeah,
I can
that's
get
just
behind
my
it. But
guess.
back to Arch, like this could be his moment. This could be something that carries him through. You know, they definitely have some things that they need to still work on. You know, that defense, I was a little surprised that Mississippi State was able to do that to their defense.
Agreed.
So, but they're going to have, I mean, Texas has the opportunities in front of them to get themselves back in this. They have Vanderbilt at home next week. Then they have a bye. Then they go at Georgia. Then they have Arkansas. And then they have Texas A&M at home as well. I mean, if they run the table, they're absolutely in.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely have their opportunities in front of them. Do I think that they're capable of doing it? No. But they can.
I think that Texas was a team that was pronounced dead too soon. That's my belief. I think they were pronounced dead way too soon. I think they have the talent composite. I think the quarterback, once it clicks, once it flips, they can be dangerous enough. And what I saw throw-wise from Arch Manning in big moments where he had to make big throws in a hostile environment, that meant something to me, big dog. Like that meant something to me. And it only ever takes one spark to hit the piece of paper for it to catch on fire when you're that talented. And the big question that everyone's going to want to try to answer this week is, was that enough to be the big spark? Was this reporting good enough to bring this team together? And was the Arch Manning spark that hit that paper, is it good enough? And how long can it be on fire for? Because I think they are a dangerous team because they do have a quarterback with all the tools. They got a quarterback developer and an offensive play caller who I don't think you can call plays and win a title in college football. But with that being said, you can call plays and be significantly dangerous. And I just wonder, is this the spark? And also, selfishly, for Ohio State, like I want Texas to be a good team, so this is a good win. I don't like people saying Texas is mid and using that as a case for A&M or for Indiana to be the number one team in the country because of what people think Texas is and because they pronounced Texas dead too soon.
Yeah. I'm not going to worry about Ohio State's wins and Ohio State's what people think. I don't really care.
Well, I worry about it for the Big Ten versus the SEC narrative.
Oh, that's fine.
That's
fine.
my thing.
That's fine. You can. That's fine. That's a Chris Drew battle. That's not a Tyler battle.
Yeah, but I got the sword out. That's what I fight for. I believe in us.
But if they beat Vandy and they go into the bye, they're going to be feeling very confident. They're going to be feeling very good. And then you're basically playing for all the marbles when you play at Georgia. I mean, you get to play for all the marbles again when you play against. But, you know, for Georgia, if you beat Texas, as long as they continue to just keep breathing and then they beat Texas, they're also in. Like, even if they lose to Georgia Tech, but they beat Texas, they're in.
Yeah.
So it's just like, that game's going to be – there's the best part – my favorite thing, the biggest thing about the expanded playoff is now there's a lot of elimination games moving forward now. The elimination games are starting.
Well, there's just more meaningful games in the last 6 weeks of the year. There's just more meaningful games.
Also, to add to that, I've been seeing 24-team playoffs, which makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
But that's not the point of today.
Georgia has Florida next week. They were both coming off buys. Tyler, before we get out of here, I would like you to give the Tyler McCormick I-71 top 15 teams in America. Then we'll close the show.
All right, number 1, I have Texas. Or sorry, whoa.
Wow, holy
Texas on the brain.
All
right, number 1.
Wait, pause. We're doing this, timeout, big timeout. We're doing this because we acknowledge there's a ton of fatigue and there's a lot of cases being made for other teams to be the number one team in the country rather than Ohio State. I think it becomes dangerous because you start looking only at a stat sheet rather than turning the film on and watching how they play against teams and how they dominate. I do not believe the defending national champions need style points. I believe they need to suffocate teams and win because they will always get every single team's best shot. With that being said, we're going to hit the restart button. Tyler McCormick is going to give his first Tyler McCormick I-71 top 15 teams on the pod. Who do you got 1 through 15?
Well, number 1, Ohio State. Can't get fired on a day off. Just don't believe in it.
Bang.
Indiana, really, really good. Elite team. Then I have Texas A&M at number 3. Then I think there's a gap.
Okay.
Okay. Number 4, I have Alabama.
I want to stop you real quick. How close are A&M and Indiana in your eyes?
I think Indiana is closer to Ohio State than A&M is closer to Indiana.
So you have Ohio State and Indiana are closer to each other than A&M, Indiana.
Correct.
That's awesome. Keep going.
Okay. Number 4, I have Alabama. Number 5, I have Georgia. Number 6, I have Miami. And number 7, I have Oregon. So I want to stop there for a second.
Yeah.
I think Miami and Oregon, if Miami plays their best against Oregon, Oregon cannot beat them, which is why I put them there.
I think Oregon and Miami are both better than Georgia.
They probably are.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like Georgia.
Are you about to do the quality loss thing?
No. I think also, but I also believe that if Georgia plays their best, that I don't think Miami, Oregon can beat Georgia. But I will say this, though. I don't think Georgia is capable of playing their best as much as Miami and Oregon are.
Okay.
So for now,
did you say Ole Miss or no?
I had not said Ole Miss. Ole Miss was 8. I have Ole Miss at 8. I have Georgia Tech at 9. I have Notre Dame at 10.
Okay.
I have Vanderbilt on 11, just outside of number 10, outside of the top 10. I think Notre Dame is a better team than Vanderbilt is.
That's fair.
I just think that they are. I mean,
at some point when you get to this part of the season, you're trying to undo the web. You just have to look in the camera and say, I just, in my heart of hearts, think Team A is better than Team B. That's an important.
Correct. After Villanova, I have BYU. They're undefeated. They're doing the thing that they're supposed to do. They're gonna be tested. I have Texas Tech at number 13. I have Cincinnati at 14, even though I said Cincinnati is going to win the Big 12. But I think BYU being undefeated, they've earned the right to be ahead of both of those teams. And then at 15, I have Virginia. I don't know who Virginia is. I just know that they're going to be I think they're going to be in the ACC championship game. They're going to be there.
Wait, did you have Virginia? You think Virginia's better than Texas Tech?
No. Texas Tech is better than Virginia.
Okay. Maybe I missed where you had Texas Tech.
I had Texas Tech behind BYU and ahead of Cincinnati.
Checks out.
So yeah.
So here we go. BYU has Texas Tech next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be a fun game. That's gonna be like a classic. Like, is this game drunk a little bit? Good show, man. I'm curious to see kind of how the national media approaches Ohio State this week in terms of do they get fired on their day off, even though I don't believe they should be. I think Ohio State honestly is a little bit too perfect, and it's like people want perfect teams to fail. We saw that with Alabama for a bunch of years, where they get put under a microscope that no one else gets put under in terms of like being picked apart. They get picked apart way more than Indiana and then A&M, and because of that, you're going to see a lot of national media put those two teams ahead of them this week.
If you're an Ohio State fan, all you need to say is Indiana will have their chance to prove it to us.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to
as long as both teams do the things that they're supposed to do, Indiana will have the opportunity to prove it in their own state.
Yeah, bingo, in their own state. I'm Chris. That's Tyler.
Peace. Breaking. Oh, never mind. That's not. This is No 3 Sports. Never mind.
Almost got you.
It was a report that said Harold Perkins will sit out the remainder of the 2025 season.
Oh yeah, they almost got you with the good old No 3.
They almost got me.
Am I forgetting a game, dog? Why do I feel like I'm forgetting a game?
Iowa, Michigan State. I don't think so.
I think I'm good. I watched so much football this morning. So, all right. I'm ready. You ready? Oh, wait. Let me listen up. I'm ready. You ready?
Yep.
And this was just week 9, right? We just finished week 9.
Yeah. Biggest show of the week.
Yeah. Whew.